So, what does a data analyst actually do all day? Hollywood gives us this image of some kind of math wizard solving crimes. But the reality, well, it's a little different, and honestly, maybe even more interesting. Let's separate the myth from the reality.
Right? You've seen this a million times. Someone like Charlie Epps from the show Numbers, scribbling these insane equations on a whiteboard and cracking the case just in the nick of time. It's awesome for television, but is that what the job is really like day to day?
Okay, let's use an analogy to break this down. Think about a cook versus a chef. A cook is fantastic at following a recipe, right? They can take a set of instructions and make a delicious meal. But a chef understands the principles behind it all. They get the chemistry, the techniques, so they can throw the recipe book out and invent something totally new. So that leads to the big question, doesn't it? Is your average data analyst a chef? Are they in a lab somewhere inventing brand new world-changing algorithms from scratch every single day? Well, the answer is not really. There's this fantastic quote from a data scientist on Reddit that just nails it. The vast majority of us are just driving the car, not building the engine. And that right there is the heart of this whole myth versus reality thing. So here's the deal. The job isn't about being a theoretical mathematician. It's about being a master problem solver. It's about taking these incredible, powerful tools and algorithms that already exist and skillfully applying them to solve actual business problems. You're the expert driver who knows exactly which car to pick for which road. Okay, so if the analyst is the expert driver, what's in their garage? What's in their toolkit? Let's take a look at how they turn a mess of raw data into something clear and valuable. At its core, data analysis is really just a process. It's all about taking raw, messy information and putting it through a series of steps. You examine it, you clean it up, you transform it, and then you interpret it. The whole goal is to find those hidden gems, the patterns and trends that can help a business make smarter moves. And this process is super methodical. You can't just dive in. First things first, you have to make sure your data source is legit. Is it reliable? Then you got to check if the data itself is even accurate. Only after all that boring but crucial work do you get to clean it up, get it into the right shape, and finally, you get to analyze it for those cool patterns. Now, to do all this, analysts have a few key tools they rely on. Python is kind of the Swiss Army knife, the go-to language for everything. And within Python, there's a library called Pandas that's an absolute workhorse for cleaning and organizing data. Then, once you've found something, you use tools like Looker Studio or Power BI to turn it all into beautiful charts and dashboards that actually tell a story. And this is what all that work can lead to. A scatter plot like this one. It isn't just a bunch of random dots on a screen. No way. This is a visual story. It can show you the relationship between two different things at a single glance. It makes a super complex pattern suddenly simple and understandable. All right, so analysts find insights. I know that's a pretty broad term. In reality, the work they do usually falls into 4 different categories, or let's call them 4 different flavors of insight. It all depends on the question you're trying to answer.
First up, the most common one, descriptive analysis. This is all about looking backwards to answer the question, what happened? Think of your standard monthly sales report. That's descriptive analysis. It's giving you the basic facts of what went down.
Next, you've got diagnostic analysis. This goes one step deeper. It's not just what happened, but why did it happen? So if your sales report shows a sudden drop in website traffic, a diagnostic analysis is you playing detective to figure out the cause. Was it a server crash? A competitor's big sale? What was it?
Okay, now we start looking to the future with predictive analysis. This uses all that historical data to make an educated guess about what is likely to happen. This is huge in retail for predicting product demand or in finance for forecasting stock prices. It's about seeing around the corner.
And finally, the most advanced, the holy grail, is prescriptive analysis. This doesn't just predict the future, it gives you advice. It answers, so what should we do about it? The perfect example is Netflix or Amazon. Their recommendation engines don't just guess what you'll like, they prescribe an action. Watch this movie next to get a specific result. So understanding the work is cool, but what's it like as a career? I mean, what does the actual path look like, from finding these little insights to making a real-world impact? Let's just start with a number that usually gets people's attention, $148,000. In the US, that's on the high end for what a senior-level data analyst can make in a year. It really shows you how much companies value these skills. But of course, let's be real, you don't start there on day one.
There's a pretty clear progression. When you're just starting out, you might be in that $33,000 to $81,000 range. But with a few years under your belt, you see a really big jump. And then at that senior level, that's where you hit that top tier.
And the job titles change along the way too. You might start as a junior analyst or a reporting analyst, where you're really focused on just getting the data and building basic reports. But over time, you can grow into a senior analyst or a BI analyst running the whole dashboard show, or even a consultant who uses data to help shape major business decisions.
So we've talked about the tools, the types of analysis, the career path. But what is it that really separates a good analyst from a truly great one? It actually comes down to a way of thinking. And that brings us right back to where we started. That one simple question. Are you a cook or are you a chef? Are you just following the recipe or do you understand why it works?
Senior data scientist Aditya Garg said something that just perfectly captures this. He said that when you get it, you are liberated from past constraints, you can explore a myriad of possibilities. You're not just stuck using the same old tools for the same old problems. You can get creative.
And that is the real takeaway here. Mastery isn't about knowing Python commands by heart. It's about adopting this first principles mindset. It's about always asking why. Why this model? Why this chart? When you understand the fundamental reason behind every choice, that's when you go from just driving the car to actually understanding how the engine works.
So forget the Hollywood myth. The real data analyst is a skilled driver, a creative detective, and a powerful storyteller, all rolled into one. It's a field driven by pure curiosity. So now that you know what it's really about, what problem are you going to solve first?